It's now time to bring you a feature on the show today as we focus on the World Federation of Exchanges, which has elected Onyema, the Group Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Exchange Group PLC, to its board. Now, this decision was reached at the virtual 60th General Assembly and Annual Meeting of the World Federation of Exchanges. Onyema will now serve on the board for a 3-year term representing Europe, Middle East, Asia and Africa region. In its acceptance speech, he noted, and I quote, "This is an indication of a prominent effort in regional and global position and a testament to our contributions to the World Federation of Exchanges in respect of our input on issues confronting the African and global capital markets." He's also committed to fostering greater synergies between the members of the World Federation of Exchanges and industry partners, and also supporting the Federation to consolidate its position as the leading voice for exchanges and clearing houses amongst global stakeholders. Now, the Nigerian Exchange Group was a member of the World Federation of Exchanges since 2014, when it made history as the first West African exchange to be granted full federation membership status. Well, joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss this and much more, I have Mukta Mohammed, the Chief Executive Officer of Finance. With Mukta, good to have you on the Breakfast Show.
A pleasure.
Now, this is quite an impressive feat, having this election onto the board of the World Federation of Exchanges. We've seen the policies, the initiatives of Onyema. We've also seen the transition from Nigerian Stock Exchange to the Nigerian Group, Nigerian Exchange Group, and much more. How do you receive this report?
Well, it's good news, especially for somebody that's put in so much into
work.
This. She's put in so much work. You remember when they came in, the situations, he was recruited globally, he tried to move, he really moved the exchange from, we can say, from analog to digital. He did a lot of work, especially in the area of corporate governance. He brought integrity and transparency to that space. And also he's done a lot to attract investors, companies to come into the exchange. I think it's a honor well deserved.
And do you also think this positioning also presents more cues for Nigeria to adopt other models that working models that would also help transform? Because at the end of the day, you look at the performance of the Nigerian Exchange Group, it's performing quite well, but there's still room for improvement. What sort of tweaks do you expect?
Much room for improvement, especially deepening the market, bringing in other products. They've tried to bring in derivative, they've tried to bring in commodity trading. I think they need to work on that to make sure the exchange is deepened, especially in those areas, and attract more, for me, more indigenous investors into the market. They've seen much of that. The foreign investors are not coming. So it's an opportunity to deepen the market. It's an opportunity to educate Nigeria more about the market. And also, he's becoming a global brand, also can begin to attract Nigeria and the diaspora also to space. And then it makes it that he is now a member of that board. So we have no reason not to begin to be like what all other boards all over the world are in terms of corporate governance, in terms of transparency in our exchange. So I think it's very good news.
But we've not necessarily seen new listings. That's also one of the biggest issues, because under his tenure, I think what would also be a hallmark is the fact that we see so many companies also join the exchange, being listed.
Well, new listing, they've tried, as I said, Onyema have tried to bring down some of the conditions for new listing, trying to attract, especially the multinationals into the, and those are long-term processes. We're believing that we'll begin to see new listing until the COVID-19 pandemic came in, and after that it has been difficult attracting, because companies are just trying to settle down at the moment. So I think we'll get those listings, and then you need to look at what those listings will do in terms of corporate governance. You want to see a company that is coming to be listed and be ready to follow all the parameters, all the requirements, and all the rules and regulations of being listed in the exchange. And one of those regulations is prompt release of your result, being open to the public and especially your investors. So it takes a lot for a lot of business to want to do that, and I think they're trying to, you remember now, they are even trying to create a tier 2 type of estate where SMEs also will come and attract investors into their businesses at a lower rate and at a longer term. So he's working really hard, but it's not that easy, especially with the pandemic.
Exactly. And then doing an assessment of the first 3 quarters of this year. This month ends the 3rd quarter of the year. To what extent do you think his policies, his initiatives have also helped transform and would also change the report we would have for the last quarter of the year and then the full assessment for the year 2021?
I think for now we've seen that the Nigerian Exchange Group is listed, so that's the good news. So their shares are being traded daily, so that's all very good news. So they are not being open to corporate governance. We'll begin to see them release their quarterly result. Also, we'll begin to see them adhere to the same rule that other companies adhere to. So I think for me, that is a big achievement. Then you will see the result comes in promptly this time. And when results are not coming in, they are fine for not delivering on time. So part of those are the things that I think he has been able to achieve. But in terms of attracting foreign investors, portfolio investors, it has been an Herculean task for them. Even before the COVID pandemic came in, the exchange rate was a challenge to them. Then came the pandemic. So I think that is the major challenge. The exchange had not been able to move with the way we would have been moving in, especially in the area of liquidity. Liquidity, supply, and then attracting not just high institutional investors also has been a challenge. And I think that's where they should work on trying to attract the pension fund administrators into the market to deepen the liquidity in the market. That will help boost the confidence and also help improve the market in terms of attracting those foreign investors also, and in terms of giving the needed result to most investors that are there, because as it stands now, most of the equity in the Nigerian stock exchange are underpriced, and this underprice has to do with demand and supply, and this demand and supply has a lot to do with liquidity. I'm
bringing in focus the value and volume of transactions we've seen so far as well. It's not necessarily as voluminous as we would ordinarily want. What do you think are some of the feeling sentiments here beyond the control of initiatives?
I think liquidity, like I said, liquidity is, and then we have short-term investors.
Investors. So many are just sitting on the fence, waiting.
So many are sitting on the fence, and most of the people that actually see the market, you see those movements are always driven by these foreign investors, and most of them are not coming in because of the exchange challenges that we have, especially the exchange rate. So they are not coming in yet because some of them think the Naira is still on the price, some of them think the Naira is still overvalued. Then if you come in here, what's the difference? What are you going to exit the two-way system? And so those are the challenges, and that has little to, they have no control over that. And so we have short-term players, and short-term players are just there for the short term. So they come in their first 3 months, look for the results, then make profit, go out and in and out. They're looking for returns, and because of the challenge, the economic challenges, climate that we are dealing with, especially in the area of inflations. So, but when you look at the long term, if you're investors for the long term, there's no better time to come to the market than now.
Well, thank you very much for your time on the breakfast show this morning, Onyema. Definitely, we'll keep our fingers crossed to see which havens are also going to have the most attraction in terms of investment volume, and then we can only wish the very best to Oscar Onyema as he takes on this new challenge and then represents Nigeria. Definitely. Thank you once again.
Thank you.